What is up, podheads? Back with another edition of the Podio Slave podcast. Back in person with Anthony, Nate, and Rob.
Oh boy.
Back in person, masks off. This is great.
Mask off.
Oh geez, man. Back
like
in the
it.
hizzy.
Thanks for having me back again. I feel like the more often I do this, the closer the time is every time. Like I was just on like a few weeks ago.
We did the Summer Jams, which is out there, and go check that out. The playlist should be active as well. So go listen to that at your barbecues this summer. And yeah, it was only a couple weeks back. And before that was only April. Because we, when Nate was home last, we the four of us got together right here in this very basement to record an episode, and we're doing it again tonight.
So I figured it out. I knew I could compare myself to Anthony, Tony, and Nate with the Podio Slave, and I figured it out. I'm Neil Young.
Ooh.
I'm Neil Young.
Explain.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash here,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
I'm Neil
Yeah,
Young.
I got it.
Sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not.
So which one don't you like? Because doesn't he like hates Nash, I think?
It was, I think it was,
was Crosby, I
I
think.
always forget if it's,
like hates him.
it's Steven Stills, I think. I
So
don't
who's
want to say,
Stills?
one of them's kind
Yeah,
of,
who's Stills?
one of them's a douche. One of them's a douche.
All right, Nate, you're stills.
So we're recording again right after this. So we're tightening the gap. We're having 2 episodes tonight. We're tightening the gap between episodes.
Yeah, Rob, just to let you know, we're going to midnight because we have to record 2 episodes in a row to keep the gap small.
Keep it going.
Nice of you guys to let me know this right now.
I mean, I paid your advance, so you're pay to play. Everyone listening, I pay Rob hefty just to jump on with us.
You know what he paid me? He paid me in
Seltzers?
red, white, and truly seltzers.
There you go.
I'm here for the night.
Oh, man, at some point they'll sponsor us. We've only
This
talked about them a
episode
couple
has been
times.
sponsored by nobody.
Capri Sun.
So yes, it's Steven Stills that was is rumored to be the douchebag. So who's the bigger douchebag in the group? You know what? You guys can all put little names in hats, and no one will know who said what, and we'll pull it out, and that'll be interesting to see.
Hey, if you're the douchebag at the table and you don't know, and you can't spot, if there's a douchebag at the table and you can't spot the douchebag, you are the douchebag.
Yeah,
So
right. Truth.
It's
like-
Nate.
Becoming pod survivor. You're off. You're off the island.
You've been voted off the island. Exactly. So we'll give you a teaseburger. Rob loves the teaseburger, and it's an interesting one tonight because every time we've had Rob on, we've done, music. We've pulled songs, we've pulled summer jams, we've done what else have we done with you, Rob? Perfect songs a couple times.
Very
Yeah.
targeted theme. Yep.
Tonight we're doing a little more of our where's the ball going? What's going on in the music world? What have we all seen that we like and that we don't like? How much money would you pay for Spotify a month? I mean, it's going to go up, right? It's only $10 a month right now, but it's going to be more than that down the road. So yeah, that's what you're going to get tonight from the 4 of us.
Nerds at the bar, baby. This is what we do.
It's going to be good. And you came to the backyard barbecue the other day, and I said, you know what? Let's start with, where things were. So I did some research, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Nice.
I came up with some mind-blowing numbers. So if you're a music
Ooh.
nerd, and we'll talk about some stuff that will blow your top off because geez, that was like a wicked old lady term that I just said. You hang right here, I'm gonna blow your top off.
See, I love these teases, but I don't even know. So this is why I showed up.
This is some really good information because I'm a music nerd and I've been buying music since the 80s, and the numbers that I researched tonight are gonna blow your mind. So we'll get to that.
And Nate's top is already blown off. He's sitting there without a shirt on. No
Oh
one
my
knows
God.
why.
Just by me saying that was really weird how your top just blew off. when I
I'm
said
old fashioned. Yeah.
Sadly, no video tonight.
that. No,
Well, there might be some.
There might be.
One of us will probably.
what you're
pull the
wearing
phone
under
out.
that top
Yeah.
is a little concerning, but we don't need to talk about that right now.
Branded pasties. Got them on the merch store.
Do we have a merch store? Shit, we've been talking about that for way too long. We probably should
Did
pull that off.
Michael Franti have pasties at that concert last night? I had no. Why are you wearing Franti pasties?
Stay human, man.
Speaking of Fronty, you guys are still wet from the Fronty show.
Oh my God!
And it's not from rain either. I don't know what's going on here.
That was one of the drenchiest outdoor concerts I've ever been to, but we had so much fun.
It's been a minute since I've been to a show that was a full on downpour, and we discussed it post show. It's like you kind of ignore it, you just act like a hippie, and it's all good. As soon as the music stops, it's like this fucking sucks.
That's
I'm
what. And
soaked.
you told me that's what, like right when it ended. I said I'm so soaked because you don't realize it when the show's happening, but when you're walking back and you're like, You know what the worst part of being wet at a concert is? It's your feet.
No, it's your feet.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
With the socks and everything. It's the worst.
And what show was this? Tell the people.
Yeah, it was Michael Franti.
There you
Michael
go.
Franti and Spearhead.
And that was up in Maine.
Up
right?
in Sidney, Maine. You guys all know where Sidney, Maine is. Who doesn't?
I live here. I'm not
SIDNEY.
sure. Yeah.
So for those of you listening, it's the next town over from our state's capital, Augusta. And it's a music school, right, Nate?
Yeah, School for Nerds.
And they have a venue there. It's a great venue, and it's their second year of doing concerts, I believe, and it's the second year in a row that Michael Franti's played there, and people came out for it last night. We were wondering if people were still going to come out, but they came out.
Because you guys posted a video last year and it was packed. Like how many? I'm curious. Like how many people show up to this thing last night in the
I
middle of
think it was-
nowhere, soaking wet?
I think it was pretty similar.
Yeah, I think the turnout was
Yeah.
pretty good, and I think it was partly because there's just nothing else going on.
Well,
up
that's
there.
the other thing. Is like, yeah, there's nothing going on up there. So I'd be willing to bet that 30% of the people there didn't even know who he was.
Oh yeah, just like show. Holy
$55
crap.
for and there's a concert happening. Let's go.
Someone from out of state. I'm in.
Right.
Well, and I mean, full disclosure, especially when you listen to this maybe 3 months from now, it's only rained every day in a row for the last, month? So
Oh,
we've
yeah.
been
The month
stuck
of
with shitty weather.
June, I think there was 4 days out of the month that there was no precipitation.
Jesus. Yeah. Happy summer, guys.
It's been absolutely miserable.
Welcome to Maine, Nate.
And if you're listening on the West Coast or whatever, like we get 3 months. That's it. And we lost one of them, and we're pissed.
Yeah, we definitely lost one of them. Because the month of September is usually pretty nice, but
So yeah, we get 3.5 ish. But yeah, it's like if it doesn't turn here pretty soon, I'm moving out with Nate.
It was tough for me because I'm visiting from San Diego, perfect weather all the time. Come back raining. I volunteered to be a DD, so I'm driving. I have no idea what I'm doing. We hydroplaned twice
Ooh,
in a truck.
damn.
I was like, this is insane.
There's a lot of rain.
So did you go out into the crowd again, like you typically
Oh,
do?
he spent probably a total of 20 minutes out of the show in the crowd last night.
Yeah, it's special. Yeah, he's
He
of
likes
the
to
people.
hang. Yeah, if you've never seen Michael Franti in concert, just go see him. You don't even need to know his music. Just go see him. His music's great, but just go see him because it's therapy. It's great music.
Summer jams.
It's summer jams.
There you go.
It's just a party. It's so fun.
I was actually just going to mention the music therapy element because him and his wife Sarah actually have a foundation and it's rooted in music therapy. They actually had. I remember they had a job posting my wife sent me, and she's like, "This is all about you." I'm like, "Well, it's very Audioslave-esque as well too." But yeah, they are very much in the realm of music therapy, and he talks about unity and just all the fucked up shit that's going on, and so it's a good hippie vibe.
Got to get Franti on the show.
I know someday we'd love to talk to him
It's on the
because
list, right?
yeah, he's definitely a guy that we've admired from close and afar, depending on if you've seen him live in Sidney, Maine, or seen him on Instagram or something.
Man, I'm jealous. It's only been like a week since I've been to a show, or less. No, less
Yeah,
than
less than
that.
that.
Oh,
We were
dude,
there
you
a
guys are
couple
on a
nights ago.
streak.
I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
East Coast is killing it compared to the West Coast.
No,
Well, in terms of attendance,
no. When
You're
when the East Coast is killing it with shows, it's like a slow Tuesday out in San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but remember, mine are just on my calendar. I don't actually make these shows. You guys are on a streak, and
But
I'm proud.
But
I'm
Nate,
a
they
proud papa.
exist, and you come here, and they're like, "Oh, we have a show on a Tuesday, cool," and then we don't have another show for like a month.
You know what's
it's
funny?
pretty quiet
When I
around here.
see concert listings, I know they're not coming to Maine. So I look like directly. First thing I look at is, are they coming to San Diego? So then I can tell Nate about the show because I know we're not getting it.
Exactly, happens a lot.
Yeah, I do like those little tidbits too, because it's like, dude, Sunsleeper is playing a record store in OC. I'm like, fuck, I have to go to that. Like, it's almost like these obligations, and they're all tied to the pod, and the fandom as well. But usually intros from Twan or Tone on things that I discovered through you guys. That I have the luxury of them coming to that market. So
Well, and then we get to go to a show. Our boys in Toronto had their EP release, and they're playing Nate's
Yep.
voice over as like an in-between song as they're getting ready for another one. I look at Nate, I'm like, that's you, dude. Like, you're being played through the
That's right,
speakers.
because you
at this
were on the
venue.
new album.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was a little bashful about it, but he pointed me out, and I'm like, dude, I don't really want to be called out right now, but I am on the record. Cool experience.
Yeah.
And it is a bucket list thing, so I'm
totally
proud of it, and I'm just proud to be working with those guys. They're homies of ours.
Yeah,
so.
Seth, Sean, Adam, and Justin, awesome dudes, and thanks for letting us live out our nerd dreams in that respect.
All right, so we did the concert recap. What are we starting with? What's the first nerd at the bar topic here?
I think Rob. Yeah, Rob's going to give us the info.
Well, no, I think. Well, why don't you set up? Oh, you already did. You already pretty much set it up. So we're talking about the state of the music industry, current, past, present, future. Like, where are we now? Where are we going to be? And where were we? And you and I were sitting out on the back at my little backyard barbecue that I had on Saturday, which was super fun. And you told me the topic, and I came up with the idea. I said, well, let's go back to see what people were paying for music and what the music industry was like, back in the day. And, I'm going to date myself here, but I bought my first tape in 1986.
Ooh, baby.
With my allowance money. And it was on sale for $6.99. I don't know what that is in inflation, but I do have some inflated numbers here.
Let's hear 'em, man.
That
Let's
are
hear
going
'em.
to blow your mind. So, and these are all, these are 2015 inflation adjusted numbers, because that's what I was able to find, which is not too far off from, actually, you know what? It's
There'll be a little
way off.
You know what? Just from from the past. Yeah. So add a couple bucks.
Add $10. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So at the peak of vinyl was at its peak in 1977.
Really?
Wow.
So that's when the most units were sold in a year. The year after was very close. So I got 1978. In the year 1978, what do you guys think, inflation adjusted? What were you buying? What were you paying for a full-length vinyl, an album?
I'm going to guess $40 adjusted for inflation, because it was probably in the teens, and then
That's a good guess.
Any other guesses? Or
I was going to go a little lower, like 32.
I'm going to go $44.
so you guys are all pretty close. I was still surprised about this. It was $30
wow. Yeah.
for an album, for one album.
Well, where my head goes is now we're talking vinyl records. Now it's $30. So adjusted for in 2015, which we know the ball has continued rolling, it's probably close to $40. High 30s now for 2023 adjusted.
And
Good point.
and in 1985, mid 80s, $10 back then was I believe $22 now, if that sounds right. And in 1999, there wasn't much vinyl going on, but it was around $15.50, inflation adjusted. And no, not inflation. That was the actual price, I think. And so today they're between $30 and $40,
$30 and $40. It's
All
crazy.
day. Yep.
which is insane.
Actually, you know what? When I first started buying 7-inches, like at shows and through online, in probably the early 2000s, you could get a 7-inch for $2.99.
Yep.
$2.99, and now they're $10.
CD singles
In
and cassette
18
singles
years.
were between $3 and $3.50 back in the late 90s. So I got a few more here. Right around the kickoff of vinyl, right around 1950, inflation adjusted, $16 for a vinyl.
Wow.
And then when the cassettes debuted around 1970, what do you think a tape cost
In 70?
in 1970?
This is not adjusted for inflation.
This is adjusted.
Oh, it is.
These are adjusted. Like what it would cost today.
$15.
I'm going to go 25.
25 is, I was just going to say 25.
$42.
Holy shit.
crap.
Holy shit.
$42. And in 1991, 2015 prices, $19, which sounds about right because they were about $10 a piece. And when the CD came on, launched back in 83, $40.
Wow.
And then in 1991, the CD was $27, inflation adjusted. And then 2013, when iTunes first came on, inflation adjusted, $16. So you can see that the prices are going down. And I've said this for the longest time, and we've all talked about this together probably a long time ago. Sorry, record companies, you guys fucked up, because we always talked about this. Like, you guys, Napster's happening, and people are getting their music for free, and you're doing nothing. You're not changing the prices. So people aren't going to, they're going to do whatever they can to save money, and they never moved.
Although Bomos had those $6.99 first week albums.
That's true.
$6.97.
$6.97. And the thing is, I would buy those because of the value, you know, and not even because of the quality of the music. Well, we didn't know the quality because we hadn't heard the album, but like you'd buy it off the one song. So is your thought is companies, should they have record labels, should they have held strong on the high price?
No.
Or the opposite?
They should have done the opposite, because even when Napster was happening and LimeWire and everything, CDs were still $18 or $19, whatever that is now. They didn't move back on the prices, and they finally did, but not by much. And, you know, and we've all talked about this. I miss going to the record store. I miss buying that CD, but I'm not going to do that anymore, you know, because it's essentially, you know, we all have Spotify. We all have Apple Music. We all have whatever we listen to.
You don't have Tidal. I'm saying you don't have Tidal.
You know,
what's that?
Tidal?
You don't have Tidal.
Who is that? This is Jay-Z's?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's platform.
I don't have that.
They're supposed to pay the best.
They pay the best, and they were the most expensive. They were like $20 a month for a hot minute. And I did have it. We've talked about it before. I had it around when Kanye put out Life of Pablo because I wanted to hear it when it dropped, and he kept like stringing everybody along. But just to get people to probably subscribe to Tidal, which
do they have everything though? Like Spotify,
they have a lot. Yeah, they have a lot.
I mean, can you get like Steve Harwell of Smash Mouth's solo album on there?
Fun in the Sun.
How deep are we going?
Everybody wants some
deep cut. That's fascinating. Like at some point, so the reality is like the record labels in the industry, I don't think they could have predicted what was going to happen. You have the influx of the internet goes crazy.
I'm not saying they couldn't predict it, but they didn't do anything about it when it was happening.
That's the thing. They got caught with their pants down, and there's nothing they just bunch of old guys. You know, I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm just basing on the one in front of me.
Wow.
I think they were like, well, there was the.
He's talking about you, Rob.
I know. I got it. I'm
waiting for the fuck you, dick.
I'm ignoring it, dick.
There you go.
Where was I going with this? I lost my memory because I'm old.
There you go. No, just that they didn't react in time. Like
that's what I was. I think that they were expecting, because the lawsuits were going on, and I think in the back of their mind they're like, this is all going to be put to a stop and we're going to be fine.
I think you're right,
but it wasn't the case. And you had James and Lars from Metallica came in hot with that, trying to stop it, and they were not very popular people for a little bit, but I feel like the majority of people have forgotten about it and love Metallica again, as do I. It's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, I think they thought that they were going to win this, and it wasn't the case.
I think it's just hard to pivot quickly, even if they had like insight years in advance. So call it, 1998 to 2003, like the formula worked. Records are going diamond off a unit that costs for COGS or cost of goods like a fraction of a penny. It's like making Pepsi, and then there's like a underground soda company that's like, hey, we can rival you. We reverse engineered your product. Get ready. And Pepsi's like, well, fuck it, dude. Like, we own the market. 70% market share. You think we're just gonna drop and change salaries and destroy our supply chain to like rival this random startup? Fuck off. So I think these record labels are in that mentality where they're like, no, we own this market. It's that whole meme, I'm the captain now. It's like, no. And it did change, but even with the foresight, that would be bowing down to like Wall Street bets. It's just not, it doesn't happen that quickly, but it does catch up. And I think you're right in that it probably would have made sense to pivot, but they're strong held in like, I don't want to give up my fifth yacht.
And to your point, I totally agree. But I feel like there was 3, 4, 5 years when this was happening where they still did nothing.
Right.
It's not like they had to make a split decision. It went on, and then it just got worse, and they continued to do nothing about it.
I'm glad we're leading with this because this is a perfect segue into the Spotify stuff. We'll get there in a second.
Yep.
But here's the thing. If they did do something and drop the price to what? Like, what price do they drop to? Because there's a price where it gets so low where not everyone eats.
Right. I was thinking even $9.99 for, they didn't even do that. They stuck around with the the $15-$16 prices for years, even after the streaming was happening, you know?
Yeah.
And I think when Spotify really got big, that's when I started seeing a lot of like $11.99, $13.99. And now, I mean, I don't even know what CD prices are now.
I can't remember the last time I bought a CD that wasn't like to support someone.
I feel like they're still at least $12.
I think they're like $13.99. I feel like that's. I'd have to go to
which
Bull
is
Moose
crazy because you guys must talk about Bull Moose all the time on here, and we love that Bull Moose is still a thing. But you know, you walk in there and you see these big displays of like 30 or 40 copies of Taylor Swift's new album or anybody's new album. It's crazy. Like, how many people are really walking in there and buying CDs?
Well, Taylor Swift's a great example because they're signed.
They're signed.
Are they all signed?
I mean, in theory, they're signed, yes. There was a whole episode about this, I think.
Way
The
back.
conspiracy theory episode where she allegedly signed them all, but Nate discovered she's using an auto pen.
Yeah.
Auto pen, baby.
Auto pen. It's
You're,
her.
what a bitch.
No. Ooh, look what you made me do.
She's going to write a song about me is what she's going to do.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. You know what you guys should do? You should hang out someday at Bull Moose. Obviously get their permission. I'm sure they'd be fine with it, and just interview people that are buying CDs and ask them. That would be a great episode.
You'll get a bunch of weirdos. Like you'll
That's
get us.
what's going to make it a great episode.
I feel like we're on the
Good
normal
point.
end of go to record store day.
People like weirdos.
There you go.
This is true. People like weirdos. So I would definitely
Right.
agree with that.
Well, to your point, just to cap that one off, those record stores are surviving solely on vinyl. So the CDs are
Right.
going to be an afterthought. In fact, last time I went to Bull Moose, it was majority a used section for CDs and predominantly vinyl. So, CDs are an afterthought. Will they come back? Maybe.
And video games and books.
Yeah, exactly.
Margins, I would imagine, are bigger on CDs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they're making, yeah.
It's like the cassette coming back at bands' merch tables. It's a novelty.
It's a novelty. And those margins probably are not very big because of the small runs.
Yep. Infrastructure doesn't exist anymore. Yep.
So is this a good segue into
It's a great segue into it.
what would you pay? Do you want to set this one up, Tone?
Yeah, so when thinking about what to talk about tonight, this crossed my mind just, being on Twitter and reading some of the stuff that goes on with Spotify and other streamers, that what they pay to artists is small, and we know that. We've talked about that before. A bunch of people talked about that. We're not reinventing the wheel there. But the reason those numbers are small is because you, me, everybody else is paying $9 a month or $10 a month for a streamer, and you can have whatever you want. There's no limit on listening. You can listen to whatever you want that's on there, obviously, as much as you want. Pull it up all hours of the day, all hours of the night, and you can go 24 hours, all day, all night.
All night?
Exactly, yes. You could do
Inside
that.
joke, sorry.
You could check our socials. That might be actually up there. But you could do that as much as you wanted to without really any penalty. It's flat rate. And that's why those numbers are so low, is because they're not paying out a ton. Now, they should pay out more, but who is the person or people that are paying for that? It's going to be you and me, right? The consumer, they're passing that buck to us all day, which makes sense. How much money a month would you spend to listen to whatever you wanted to musically? Like, what's the number that stops you?
Hold up. Before digging into it, I did some research for this, and this is just a little inside baseball on Spotify, and this is conceptually how it works. Every month, Spotify takes in money from ads and subscriptions. So let's just say in any given month, they're taking in $1 billion. It's reported that they skim 30% off the top. The rest of the 70 goes to the owners of the music, which could be the label, publishing, artist. So that 70% is then divvied up. So we can blame Spotify all we want, but it could get into logistics of bands, contracts, and whatever. But the reason I bring that up is exactly what Tone's talking about. If that system is in place, in order for the artist or the owners to get a bigger slice, we're gonna have to pay more.
100%.
And so like the title example, that 70% that they're paying out to the owners could be 80%. They're just taking a smaller cut. So we all say that Spotify is a bad guy. Are they? I think it's shitty contracts, but
yeah, it could be labeled too. Like,
could be
you know,
exactly.
unless you own all your music, which we've talked about that happening more and more, and it does happen more, which is good. But unless you own it all and you have the backing of said, big whether it be a streamer or a label to push you in front of everybody, you're not making a ton of money doing that. So
here's my thought. And I'm the one that's bitching about inflation all the time because everybody knows it's out of control right now. For $11 a month, and I believe as far as I know, the family subscription with 5 accounts or 6 accounts
6
is $15.
It's $15.99.
And we'll get to whenever you guys are ready to get to it, and we can all talk about it. Like it's pennies.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's
totally.
it's pennies. And the argument is like to the true music fan, you might not notice it, but the sound quality it's not the resolution of a CD. You're certainly not going to get the sound of a vinyl, but can you crank it up in your car and enjoy yourself and have it be fine? Absolutely. So I guess it goes to to your question, like what will we all pay per month?
I think I looked at it this way. I go back to when I was buying CDs regularly. I probably bought 3 or 4 a month at $7 to $10 or $12 a month, depending on what it was. If it was a new release, day of, a lot of times they were either $6.97 or $9.97 at Bull Moose 20 years ago. And then I would do that 4 or 5 times a month.
Did they do that for the big names too?
The big names, some. It depended. Yeah,
Okay.
it depended.
I might get to $9.97 or.
I'm sorry, guys. I worked in radio for years. I haven't bought a CD in a long time.
So you do that, and you kind of put it out there, and then maybe you go to a show a month at, if I'm 20 years old, 21 years old. So I'm probably dropping somewhere between $30 and $50 a month on music as a 20-year-old with some disposable income, but not a ton because I'm in college and I'm trying to, broke college, get that type of stuff. So would I do that today? I bet I'd do that today because I don't even think about it. But when you go and buy a concert ticket, you're likely spending anywhere from $30 to $100, depending on who you're going to see, maybe more. You go see Taylor Swift or Bruce Springsteen, you're going to spend $200 or more.
$200 for a Taylor Swift ticket. That's cute. That's
Yeah.
cute, Tone.
You know what I mean, though. My point there is that if you were lucky enough to get in when they went on sale and didn't crash Ticketmaster, you might get a ticket for a big name artist for $200 to $300, and you do that once a year, twice a year. Cool. So you're probably spending the same, maybe a little bit more, but you're not spending it on your everyday music consumption. So if you just look at it as music consumption, I was probably spending $25 a month. I'm spending way less than that now, and occasional vinyl here and there, more as a collector than anything else. But yeah, I bet I spend close to what I spent 20 years ago, and that's inflation, right? There's been inflation, but I'm not spending more money. I was probably spending the same thing and I'm getting more.
And you're getting more, right?
Let's assume there's no free ad version, right? Because the Spotify, there is a free version where they pump you with ads, and that's their other revenue. So assume that's not, because that would factor into. So say Spotify became $50 for ad-free, but then there was this free version with ads. I would opt for the free version. So let's assume that's out of there. Because at some point there's a threshold where I wouldn't pay to avoid ads. It might be a tough pill to swallow at first, but I'd probably spend $39.99. I mean, I break it down by day. 30 days in a month, a little over $1 a day. To me, that's worth it. And honestly, like, there's a lot of Spotify's the bad guy stuff out there. If I just broke down how it works. If we're spending 4 times as much per person, the pool of that 70% that gets paid out to the artist becomes bigger. It's all percentage based. We say a cent and a half per stream, and it's probably month to month around there, but that's not a flat amount that's paid out. It's proportion to how many people streamed your shit from the pool. And then the big 70% pool of money, it's divvied up. So in theory, if they kept those same percentages, if it went up to $40 a month, people would be getting four times more.
Yeah, true.
And that's a bonus. Like, I don't even factor that in when I say $40. I would do it, even if they ended up getting the same. But I'm a music freak, and I'm consuming multiple albums a day.
Right. I could not have said it better than what you just said. And your number is pretty much my number.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys got to realize it's like you have every album at your disposal. I'm a big playlist guy too. I like making playlists for, whether it's a certain event or whether I'm in the mood for something. You have playlists. You have endless amount. It's endless, and it's a set price. So I agree. I would, if I had to, I would probably pay up to $40.
And you gotta pay the infrastructure. Like, this stuff doesn't get built on its own. You know what I mean? That all the people have to, like, Spotify has to eat too. And here's the thing, they're not always profitable. So I don't know. This might sound pro Spotify, but I would pay more for sure.
I mean, that's one of the things that's like pretty. If you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty cheap.
Oh, for sure.
And you know, and it would. I'd be fine if it went up, and I would like to see obviously the artists get a bigger. If it did go up, I'd like to see the artists get more than, you know, the pennies that they're getting.
Well,
for
they
it.
should beef it up with their label. You know, that's
right.
That's where there's more play.
That for me is, I'm with you as far as like it's not necessarily Spotify or Apple Music is the boogeyman, but the current way it's set up, it's very similar to how radio was. And you've got an artist like Taylor Swift, you've got an artist like Drake, you've got a Post Malone, people who are massive, who are going to get the backing and the advertising. And I mean, how many times have you opened up Spotify and they're like, hey, check this album out that everybody's already checked out, and you probably, if you wanted to, already listened to, but we're promoting it. If you haven't, you should probably get on that, because that makes that artist more money. There's backroom deals and all that shit. So there is some of that it's a bummer for the little guy or the medium guy, which we were always worried about losing during the pandemic. And I think we've lost a lot of them.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great point, because even if there's no backroom deals, you know that those platforms are pumping those artists because they put asses in the seats.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So maybe Spotify is the boogeyman.
Well, I think it's just the way the system is set up is it moved from everybody's on the radio, you're going to hear Taylor Swift in heavy rotation, and that is going to cause you to go buy her CD, where now it's, hey, here's an email from Spotify saying Midnight's is out, go listen to it. You know, Folklore's out, why haven't you listened to it yet? Go listen to it. You open up the app, here it is, listen to it. That's the same idea.
So they're naturally going to get a bigger percentage of the spins, which translates to bigger percentage of the pool of money. Go to Bandcamp.
Yeah, right. Go pay for, own it. I say in quotation marks, but go own the record itself and on Bandcamp.
Don't sign shitty deals. Own your shit.
So I've been kind of observer, just kind of getting everyone's take, because I'm so mixed up on this one, mainly because everything we say is going to be out there to the world, and Spotify, you know, they may or may not hear this and be like, oh, people are down for it. We'll fucking raise the price.
I was thinking that
This
same
is
thing a few
research.
minutes ago. I'm like, so just because I said I would pay that?
Yeah. I mean, because that's the data that's out there right now. People are struggling to buy groceries, but they're willing to pay for it, so the prices will continue to just either stabilize or continue to go up. They're not going to go down. They will not go down. If they do go down, it'll be a miracle, you know. But something I'm realizing, given everything we're talking about, is what I do pay for subscriptions parallel to Spotify, given I got a bunch, right? One of them that I pay for quite a bit of money, actually, I've told you about this, Rob, is one that is like almost like a personal trainer type application, and it's expensive, really expensive, but I utilize the shit out of it because I pay so much for it. So I utilize it more than I normally would. There's an incentive because of the high cost. So,
but it's also personalized.
It is personalized. But Spotify has the opportunity to really personalize things too, and they are tracking your data and give you, you know, things that you may like given your taste or your listening style or whatever. So it may work in their benefit to beef up the cost, and the user being incentivized by like, oh, I should actually be using Spotify like 18 hours a day to really maximize my output spend wise. And if it's going to benefit the artist, not necessarily the label, but the artist, I'm all for it. Especially like we're all very, you know, transparent in the fact that we're empathetic on, I just want the artist, people that we have on the podcast, to get a bigger cut, you know, like it's tough out there.
And that's been a thing for years though, even back when, you know, physical copies of albums, they were getting less than $1.
Oh yeah.
Per record that was sold.
Oh, wait, I mean,
for sure.
A fraction of that.
Yeah.
So what Spotify has an opportunity to do, given our conversation, is two things. Yes, they can raise the price, but if they really want to do the right thing, they'll go open source, and be like, these are what the artists are getting. If you pay this, you pay like level A, B, C. If you pay like level C or like premium, the artist will get the maximum cut because we're super, you know, open source. They will get more. Like if you want to pay more, like you're going to give your artists
everybody wins
what
there.
they need to survive. And then Spotify, they get a bigger cut too, but you know, they are called the BlackRock, the maximum, you know, shareholder of distribution. So
it's the whole. Do I go if you have a product? If you ever watch Shark Tank, direct to consumer, or if you have a distributor, or whatever. I guess my plug is go see a band live. Go to them. Actually, buy it directly from the band's website, because we know that at a venue, the venue can take a cut.
Totally.
Go directly to a band's website. Buy it directly from them. Tip the merch guy. Do all that shit.
Can we go off base for just a second?
Absolutely.
That's not really
There's
off base that much, because it's to your point. And I might have talked about this in an earlier episode. This is my big thing, is I personally think that merch is extremely overpriced. And if they knocked a t-shirt down $10, I know I'm buying one every time I go. I don't buy them half the time because I don't want to pay $35 or $40 for a t-shirt.
True.
If they were 25 or 30, maybe I'd do it. You know what I mean? You're going to make more money if you lower the prices when it comes to merch. That's just my personal opinion. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, there's been numerous times I've been standing at a merch booth or, behind everybody just thinking, I like that shirt, but it's $45. Like I'm not paying $45 for that.
And how many people say the same thing as you?
A lot.
Probably more than
Yeah, more than most. They're saying the same thing that you're saying. They're saying the same thing that I am. I'm sure. I think we probably all agree with that. $45 is a lot of fucking money for a t-shirt. But a piece of that is that's where they're making most of their money. And they're, like Tuan said, they're in a venue that maybe is taking a 10% merch cut. So that if it goes, you drop it 10% down to $40 or $38, and then they're losing that too. So like it's tough, and I get why bands do that, but I'm with you. It would probably, if it was $25, I'm up there thinking about buying a shirt.
I just have a feeling that everybody would win if they lowered the prices.
It's a loaded question, and here's why. When the band, especially on a smaller scale, they're lugging that shit all across the country. So it's an economies of scale thing. It has to be high based on, like you're saying, like I was gonna buy it, but it's too expensive. So the economies of scale don't equate. They're just hoping like a handful of people of that crowd are gonna buy a $45 t-shirt, and that offsets the transportation cost of like literally like packing the boxes of merch in the tour bus trailer, and that's gas, that's storage, that's running out of larges, getting them like 2 day next day to the venue, like on the next stop. So they might, in a lot of cases, not even break even on that $45 shirt.
It might be an interesting experiment for someone to try out sometime. Like, hey, let's do this at this venue, and let's change the prices completely at this venue, and just see what our margin is.
That's a good point.
I truly believe that everybody would benefit if they would stop being so goddamn ridiculous for a cotton t-shirt.
So here, my thought is where Nate was going, which is $45. That's ridiculous, and I feel like you only see that at like Gillette, TD, like that. I feel like
level. The average price is probably like $30 now for a t-shirt. 20, probably 30.
And here's the thing, it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah.
I think you're assuming the margins are more than they are. I would say on that $30 t-shirt, the band might be getting $5 a t-shirt.
Absolutely.
With the cost of goods sold, you got to pay someone to make the design. You got to, if there's shipping, stuff like that, if there's venue cuts, and then the band's got to divide that up, man. Ooh. And then you got to pay a merch guy. I think there's gouging though at that upper echelon tier. And actually, there was a band, the Spirit Box. They got a bunch of crap online because they had a $70 hoodie. And they basically said that's the lowest we could make it for without losing money, given everything I just said. It was a premium hoodie. Premium, and that's the thing. Not everything has to be premium, but basic tee, I think the days of the $15 band tee are over.
But I think if you think about it in the bulk that they're buying it, the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. Are we all in agreement that most of these t-shirts probably cost to make maybe $6 or $7?
Yep, depending on the scale.
There's a lot of variation there, and that's to Twan's point. The people that are really making, just records profit off that product are like the macro, like Gillette Stadium type stuff,
or
where
it is
overpriced unnecessarily. Yeah,
but the four of us in this room all just agreed that if the prices were $10, $8 to $10 lower, we would buy them.
Agreed. I don't think the bands can get there.
That's the point. You know what I mean?
I know. Would you be willing to accept lower quality? I think that's what would have to happen. Me, a band shirt, it's a band shirt. I don't give a
The
shit.
other tough piece there is, are we dealing with, like Nate said, the manufacturer or the people that are making the screen printer that's making the shirt is really where that kind of buck starts and stops.
Exactly.
It costs a ton of money. You got to order a certain amount. You're not going to sell a bunch of smalls, and you're stuck with maybe a bunch of stock that you had to buy because if you didn't buy 75 shirts, it's going to cost you more money to do that. So that's where we're all getting screwed, I think.
Well, that last is the fact if you're sitting on excess inventory post tour, that's a full on loss. A lot of that stuff you can't even put on like the website.
They've been putting a lot of bands now put it on the website. But
I know,
still,
but if you're looking at like 12 boxes of double XLs because you just didn't do your math right.
Right.
That's a full loss leader.
Your point is a good one, and it's really for that Gillette TD tier where. Yeah, I think there's enough room to eat there because of the volume they're buying, where 45 is gouging. That's fucked up. I think that, if that came down to 35, I'm in.
I'm talking 25.
I miss
Again,
those
to
days
Tone's
too.
point, or to all of our, to a lot of our points.
Oh, 25, I'd be in.
I'm saying $25 because everyone in this room would buy a shirt at almost every show that they went to. They would buy one. I would.
Yeah.
I'm not buying a $35 shirt. I buy a $25 shirt.
Agreed.
Then they're going to sell more product. That's my whole point.
100%.
Yeah.
No,
they would.
That's my whole point.
It's just if the math works.
That piece of it's tough. It's trying to gauge how many people you think are going to come to the tour, and then are they all larges, extra larges, or do you have some smaller and medium type folk that are maybe fans of yours? It really depends on what you think's walking through that door.
Right.
Or just offer something that's in that price range. That I would wear or something, because a lot of times it's not. Or it's a koozie, $10 koozie. It's like, I have a problem spending $10 on a koozie,
Totally. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Man.
I've been thinking this for years. Like, you'll sell more if you take a lower, I think that everybody will make more money if you lower the prices.
Although,
at the end of the day,
I'm going to challenge this. Do you think that was the case? So take the CDs. When they dropped it to $6.99, they may sell more, but is anyone eating off that $6.99 CD? I don't know. You might have lost money on it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, that's why I think it would be an interesting experiment. One venue to the next, same size venue, and just see what happens.
That's why so many records went freaking gold back then, because they were canning them out. Or all those like schemes, like I don't know if you guys saw that, where artists were, with the ticket you bought, you got a CD, and they counted that as record sales.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that shit?
Or you just be U2 and put it on your phone. But, oh, man, we sold 1 million records.
Did they count? That's a great point. Did they count that for sales?
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
But like I said, it'd be an interesting experiment, to test it between venues. But what I wanted to bring up is what you brought up to me at the barbecue, Tone, on Saturday. I'd never even heard of this before. It's an app called Dice.
I heard from Twan, so yeah, go ahead. Tell us,
Dice. It's a ticketing platform app that I've actually been to a couple shows where I bought tickets through it. So if you're, a non-Live Nation venue and you're looking for a place to sell, tickets to your event, you can basically create an event similar to like Eventbrite. Same concept. And both shows that I've bought tickets on from Dice have sold out, and I only bought one ticket. So what they have, which is kind of cool, and I love this, is you can get on a waiting list for a ticket to become available. And you're asking yourself, well, how does a ticket become available? If you're not going to use a ticket, you can basically forfeit your ticket, get a refund. So there's no markup. You know what I mean? You just get a refund, and so there's a little give and take with it. You know what I mean? You could be benefiting one time from someone sacrificing their ticket, or maybe you can't go and you're giving your ticket back. But basically, there's a show I'm going to in September. It's the H2O Crime and Stereo Gorilla Biscuit show. I got an alert on my phone, and it said, you have an hour to claim a ticket that just became available. And it was like 10 at night. I happened to be on my phone, and I snagged it. It's because someone probably couldn't go. Because that's the thing. Nowadays, live music's hot, hot, hot. A lot of shows are selling out. I bought multiple tickets just to make sure that my friends can go. And then they might have done the same, and there's a surplus between us of 2 or 3 tickets. So that'd be a scenario where I would kind of forfeit my ticket back. It'd go into a queue. There's also no resell platform. There's no resell part of this on their platform. Just like Ticketmaster has, what is it? Fan exchange bullshit.
Verified fan, yeah.
Verified fan and all that. There's none of that. I guess you could resell it on your own for a markup, but I don't think the tickets are transferable unless they're through the app, which is cool.
I love everything about this.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, all right, so you get every concert ticket that I've ever bought in my life it's no refunds. This is an opportunity. Like my mom's not doing well. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to the show. Something might come up or whatever. I can give this ticket away and sell it and just give it back very easily, get my money back, boom. And it also eliminates scalpers. And this could be something that takes off big and, cuts down the scalpers.
So I love the idea of it. And I think the way that, I wonder how they make any money. They probably have fees when you buy the tickets originally.
They do. Yeah, I believe so.
And I'm okay with the fees. We've talked about fees before. We've talked about Ticketmaster before, way back on episode 4, back before we knew what we were doing. But I do think there was some good stuff in there. And for me, I want apps like this, products like this to be able to work so that there's a chance that we don't get stuck on the verified fan resale, paying 3 times as much with a 2/3 ticket fee for whatever you're buying. So like say you want to go to a big Celtics playoff game, which we talked about here before. I've tried to buy tickets to an Eastern Conference Finals game earlier this year. Didn't do it because the tickets were going to cost me probably $650 for 2 of them. And the fees were like $300. And I'm like, that is ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. And it should be illegal.
Agreed.
It should be illegal.
And their big shtick is they've taken a stance against scalpers, and there's no pipeline to third parties,
which is huge. And
now, again, this is for independent venues that aren't the Live Nation ilk, but it's really cool. And everything's through the app. Like you have to have, in order to get on the waiting list, you have to have the app. You have to, put it in. It's all at your fingertips. But I wasn't sure exactly how it worked, like how they'd notify me. But it's a push note. It was a push notification. I'm like, sweet. I'm in front of my computer. I'm gonna get an extra ticket because I was sleeping the first time around. And
it's a great idea.
But the wait list, and you're gonna get them at face. There's no markup.
Yeah, it's a nerd sees nerd type infrastructure. Like, god damn, finally someone stepped up, because even with Ticketmaster verified fan, the thought process behind that was almost like a guise of like, yeah, we don't deal with scalpers. Now you can sell it fan to fan. But the whole that whole infrastructure with Ticketmaster verified fan is they're making a service fee twice off the initial purchase and then on the resale. And in some cases, they still allow you as a fan to charge whatever you want. So there's an incentive to just, make a profit. Oh, my buddy can't go to the show anymore. I guess I'll be like a scalper today and just make extra money. And yeah, I'll pay for my beers at the show. It creates this like unfortunate, like greedy, I don't know, environment that you may not even be, privy of. You don't even want. You're just like, whatever. I guess this is how it works.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've done it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I didn't buy the ticket for that purpose.
Exactly.
But when I see what they're selling for, like, I've sold tickets on StubHub before because I couldn't go to a show. And yeah, I marked it up. Like you just said, beers at the show.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, if it went away, I'd be happy.
Exactly. It's just not where your head is at initially.
Right.
This is just a little sidebar on the whole thing. But Dice, yeah, amazing infrastructure. I bought tickets to, I think we talked about it on here, rival schools in a small little venue in San Diego called Soda Bar through the Dice app. And if it weren't for this app, the whole venue would have sold out from secondary markets alone. So it really mitigates that whole, shit show. And saw a show, was in the room. Had I not made it, yeah, I would have done the same thing. I would have put it on the application and moved on. So,
well, here's the very important piece I didn't mention. How they avoid the scalping and all that is you get a QR code to get in the door 2 hours before doors.
Yep.
That's how they do it. So you could do some shenanigans, 2 hours before show, but like, who's going to do that? You know what I mean?
That's a lot harder to do.
It's a lot harder to do. And you're not going to gamble. You're not going to take that gamble, I wouldn't think. But yeah, that's fucking genius. Like, this is
so awesome.
It's so awesome. And the thing that's so interesting is, like, Ticketmaster, not only do they hate this because it's a rival, but they hate this concept because they don't have that, they would never implement this because of all the backhand deals and the third-party stuff and the fan exchange and all that. But it's just interesting. It was founded in the UK, I think, about 10 years ago. But I've, 2 shows now with it, and it's pretty sick.
Love the idea.
I think the majority of the concert goers probably know this already, but if you're listening right now and you love going to shows, just something for you to think about. And some venues don't have this opportunity, but always go to the box office and get your tickets if you can, because you're going to get them at face value. 99% of the time, you're not going to be paying any extra fees. There's usually not even any taxes. It's usually like, if it shows, $65, you're paying $65.
Yeah, where applicable, because I only have to say this because I live in Southern California, where venues don't even have in-person sales anymore. Again, another trick of the trade for Ticketmaster / Live Nation, where like they eliminated that option completely. So so in other words, if you have the opportunity to do so, definitely.
Yeah. So we have venues here that do allow that, and we have some that don't. But if you can, go straight to the venue when they're open and just pay, face value, because the fees are outrageous.
Insane.
That's a good one, just because it's obviously near and dear to us as concert goers' hearts. We want to not feel like we're being taken out back and robbed every time we buy a ticket. Or
you said that very PG.
Yeah, I'm trying to. And not not go all back and have them just take every penny you have on you, and then if you want to, maybe after the fact you didn't have a chance to get it, you get a chance to get a ticket to a show that somebody maybe can't go. And then I don't feel as bad about buying the tickets to a show 3 months down the road, because I know I can get rid of them to a fan that wants them for not fleecing them.
Right.
And there are some shows that, and it's probably how you, as a promoter, how you create the event in the app, but some of the events are non-transferable at all. So I love it.
Yeah, I love it too, especially because from, with experience working at concert venues, the promoter, the venue, even the bands themselves, they know there's going to be fallout. There's going to be people that can't make it. It's just the airlines bank on this, right? They oversell flights because they know, call it 15% of people are going to be caught in traffic, and, they overbook the flight and they make up for it by selling an extra 20 seats. Concert venues, same thing. So the difference with this application, Dice, and good on them, is the fact that they're seeing that, but using it to the fans' advantage rather than taking advantage of misfortune, which is
and that's another thing that I think should be illegal. You shouldn't be able to oversell flights. Like, one of these days, you shouldn't be able to do that.
You shouldn't, but there's money involved, and
it's just
shouldn't be able to inside trade too, but happens.
A lot of our elected officials do that too. I mean, how many people Nate always loves to say "plandemic." Oh no, Spotify, don't tag us. We're not talking about it.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's like look at it in a much smaller scale. I have an Airbnb, all right, that has I can host 5 people, or 5 different rooms. I'm gonna sell 6 of them, and just bank that not one's gonna show up. Like, what's going to happen then? It's like,
right. Yeah.
It's a much bigger thing, but it's just one of these things that should be federally illegal, I think.
All right, buckle up. We're an hour in. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna fix the airlines.
Let's
fix
go.
Airbnb. We're gonna fix hotels.
Corporate America, fuck off. Let's go.
All right. So thank you for listening to us tonight. We really appreciate being able to do this for you every week, for us every week, because like Nate says, it's more music therapy. It's definitely more for us. You're right, Twan. And Rob, thanks for, hosting the pod again, man.
Oh my God. Thanks for having me, you guys. And as always, I said this last time, like, if you guys have any, hacks or whatever, or apps that, Dice that we haven't heard about, let us know what they are and share your experiences and comment.
No events in the Portland, Maine area. I just looked. It hasn't migrated east yet.
Yeah. But Sidney, Maine, on fire.
Thanks for tuning in. We have I was going to tease some stuff, but I don't know if there's anything to tease. We'll have some guests coming up that I think everyone's going to love. So we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Cheers, nerds.
Hey, peace, podheads.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Patio Slave. We are at Patio Slave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Patio Slave Podcast. YouTube, Patio Slave Podcast there. Email us at patioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.